Okay, this video is going to show you how to brioche knit down and back. Um, word of, I don't know, advice. I knit differently than a lot of people. Not only do I hold my yarn Continental, but I pick front and back, which is kind of weird, but this is how I have found to brioche knit. Doing that, if you want to see the setup rows and the provisional cast on that I did, I have other videos for that. They will be linked in the comments, or you can find them under the Brioche playlist on my YouTube. So first stitch, we slip. Second stitch, I look to see where our leading legs are. So this is, in Brioche, you're going to have a pair of two, and then you're going to always have a single one. And so the pair of two, I knit or purl based on the leading leg. If the leading leg is coming around the front, it's a purl. So I bring my yarn to the front. Like I said, I purl by picking, so I go up over my yarn and pull it under. Typical Continental purling is you go up and over the yarn and then bring it down and through. And so that just creates a different twist in the yarn. I prefer not to twist it at all. I just bring it straight up and through. Okay? So then for the next one, we're going to then, so we're making a double into a single. We're making a single into a double. So I match the leading leg and we just follow the leg. So we just follow the yarn. So now we're in the front again and we're going to purl up and over and out the back. And so now I'm leaving the yarn in the back because this one is going to have the yarn come from the back over the front. And I'm just leaving it in the front because I'm going to purl, bring it through. I'm just following my yarn. Whatever my yarn's telling me to do, that's what I'm doing. So I'm making singles into doubles and a double into a single. Single into a double and a double into a single. Single into a double. Make sure that this stays open. If you do it the other way, it's going to twist. Then you don't have any stretch. It just stops. If you do it this way, you've got stretch. Okay? I want this to be nice and smushy and stretchy. All right, so wrap it over. I'm going to leave my yarn in the front and purl. Make sure everything's going the same way. Back to front and purl. And on my last stitch, I will always purl, because again, that's the edge that I'm doing. You can do any edge you want. All right, so now we are going to slide the work from one end of my double point to the other. I don't like my yarn crossing, so I nearly always flip it over so that my working yarn is on top. Just keeps me from getting things tangled up because it's always on top. All right. My camera did not like focusing on that. Too much movement. All right, first stitch, we're going to slip the stitch. Second stitch, we are going to see which direction it is. That looks a bit twisted. There we go, that opened up. Okay, so you see how that opens there? And this way, well, it just doesn't. But if I keep going this way, it gets nice and stretchy. Okay, so that's the way we're going. This leading leg is in the back. So we're going to leave the yarn in the back and we're going to wrap it to the front. Make a single into a double. Now this one, my leading leg is in the back. So we're going to bring the yarn over top. So yarn goes through the back loop, over my yarn. My needle goes through the back loop, over the yarn, and we're just going to pull it straight through. And this one, remember, it's in the back. I don't know why this one always confuses me. Back to front, into the back, and pull it through. We're going to go open it up, follow the yarn, in through the back, pull it through. Gonna open it up, follow the yarn, knit, pull it through. Open my stitch, follow my yarn back to front, and pull my knit through. This one's got a little baby bit of blue yarn on it. Tighten things up a little bit. So open it up, back to front, and then knit. I think I caught some yarn there. All right, pull it through, open the yarn, back to front, and then on my last stitch, I'm purling. Again, this is just my pattern. I'm going to repeat that probably every time I get to the edge. So if you watch the other videos, I think I did that too. Okay, and the way I twisted it, my yellow was not on top. All right, so going back across, if you start with the yellow, you always, or you start with your light color, because it's usually light and a dark color. If you start with your light color on your first time across, you will always start with your light color when your two colors are together. Most patterns say that. I think all patterns probably say that, but just as a gentle reminder. If you can see, we are already starting to get our kind of peaks and valleys, and there is texture there. So it is stretching, and on the other side, it looks exactly the opposite. So don't let these little guys fool you. It'll look super clean as we keep going, all right? So let me show you. We're gonna do the yellow across. We slip this first stitch. So now we have a leading leg in the back. We're gonna knit that leg. We're just gonna pull it through. And now if you see, everything we're doing is making a row going up this way, okay? And now for this one, our leading leg is in the front, so we're going to bring the yarn to the front, bring that leading leg, and match it over, okay? So we've got yarn in the back, or the legs in the back, so we're going to go through the middle and make a knit. And now we've got another row, so we've got two of those. And then this one, yarn is in the front. We had done it in the back. It twists, does not open. So yarn in the front, follow it over, and back. And even though the blue is here, if you watch, when I do this, it almost always will flip over the back of that loop so that you still get that pretty ridge. Okay, so open it up, follow it over, ridge. So then if you see here too, so I'm going to show you what we're doing here. So this opens up and we're just going to yarn over, but what it's doing is it's setting the playing field for doing the blue on the next one, okay? So we're going to knit, pull that through, and bring that over, open it up, see how it's open, and send it over. Pull it through. That's in the way. It's opening that way. You can see on that side, you can see for sure that it's open. This blue right here is confusing me just a little bit, especially looking through my phone. All right, and then we're going to go back, pull it through, and purl my last stitch. And then we're going to slide our work over. And then because my working yarn is going to be under, I am flipping my piece all the way over. You don't have to. You can always flip your yarn balls over if you want, actually using balls. So I like to wind them. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is how to do this stitch. I'm going to get this stuff out of the way. Reduce shadows. All right, so we're going to take this first stitch and we're going to slip it off. And this stitch is opening that way. See, open, close. All right, so we're going to bring this yarn in front and we're just going to follow it to the back, just like that stitch. All right, and then this stitch is in the front. So we're going to purl. We're going to do that in the back. So what that has done is it is creating a loop in the back. So it's coming out the back to make these blue loops. All right, let me show you. So this one is following the yellow. So it's going to eventually hide the blue while we're doing these. That's what this is. That's what this one is. These are just those wrap overs, the yarn overs around the back. And then we're going to purl and pull this through. Okay? So the whole, however you knit, even if you don't knit the way that I do, picking both ways and everything, your goal is to create open stitches. We don't want any twists because the open stitches are going to help you make these chains up one side, chains up the other side. Okay? That is always your goal. So anatomy of a stitch, you want it open. Open equals stretchy. Twisted equals not stretchy. So we're going to follow this over. And then on this side, we're going to purl it through. Like I said, my purls open up. So this works both directions. So open and pull it through. And open and pull it through. And open. And we're going to purl this last one because we always end in a purl with the way that I'm showing you. All right, so for example, when we're done, now you'll see that all of these blues have nice little chains. Now, if you look, you can see that some of these yellows are kind of sticking over. You can always kind of stretch things out a little bit and kind of pull those blues to the front, like here in particular. If you're worried that it's not quite right, just tug on that blue yarn, and if it comes to the front and kind of sticks that yellow to the back, then you're doing it right, okay? And the more you work the yarn, the more naturally it's going to continue hiding everything. So even if it looks a little gross and not super clean, especially as you're getting started, as long as it looks like you don't have blues coming across your yellow, you don't have yellow bits, big yellow bits here. You want these pretty V's, and then you want these V's, and then you want to do the same on the other side, okay? And eventually it's just going to smooth out. This is my learning piece. My tension has been kind of all over the place, but that's what you're going for. And now that your yarn is back on the beginning, that's a full set of rows, down and back. Row 1, row 2, and then you're just going to repeat those over and over again until your brioche pattern is done.